Good day everyone. Yung i-discuss ko is continuation ng overview of revenue cycle activities and documents. So dito na tayo sa update inventory records. Sa perpetual system, they keep track on inventory balances continuously and update inventory subsidiary accounts from stock release document. And yung figure ng inventory subsidiary ledger, yung stock release document, is pinapababa yung quantity on hand in every inventory account. Then after nun, every period, ito total lahat ng reduction sa inventory. Tapos, isa-summarize dito sa journal voucher. Then, ipopost siya sa general ledger, which is debit, cost of goods sold, then credit inventory control. Next is update accounts receivable. So in every customer records in accounts receivable should be updated from the ledger copy. In this figure here shows an accounts receivable subsidiary ledger that contains the name, address, current balance, available credit transaction dates, invoice numbers, and credit for payment, return and allowances ng customer. And same process kanina. Yung individual balances ng accounts receivable should summarize and send to general ledger. Next is post to general ledger. In closing transaction processing period, after ma-receive lahat ng journal vouchers from billing and summary ng inventory and accounts receivable accounts, yung mga information is magsaserve ng two purposes. Yung una, the general ledger uses the journal vouchers to post the following control accounts: accounts receivable, cost of goods sold, debit, inventory control, and sales credit. So, ayun nga, yung general ledger, lahat ng information na nag-gather ng general ledger is magagamit for preparation of financial statement. Next is, this information supports an important independent verification. So, lahat ng summary na nag-gather from accounts receivable, inventory on the other account, pwede nila itong gamitin for verification and for detecting errors. Next is sales return procedures. So, syempre, most of the organization, they are expecting na magkakaroon ng return of sales. There are so many reasons bakit nagkakaroon ng sales return. Some of which are listed here. The company shipped the customer the wrong merchandise. The goods were defective. The product was damaged in shipment. The buyer refused delivery because the seller shipped the goods too late or they were delayed in transit. If need ibalik yung item or yung product, meron tayong procedure na gagawin for approving and processing return. And magkakaroon tayo ng reversing of transaction. Using data flow diagram shows the procedure for approving and processing returned items. So, after i-return ni customer yung item or yung product, si receiving department should check the items and after nun is magpe-prepare siya ng return slip. Dalawang copy yun. Yung isa for the restock goods and yung isa for preparation ng credit memo. So, yun nga, yung unang copy ng return slip is mapupunta sa sales function. Then, si sales employee magpe-prepare ng credit memo. This document is for authorization ni customer to receive credit for items returned. And syempre, meron tayong specific authorization for credit memo. After ma-prepare ni sales employee yung credit memo, it goes to the credit manager for approval. Bago i-approve ni credit manager yung credit memo, syempre i-evaluate muna niya yon. Then, tsaka magde-decide kung i-grant niya ba yung credit memo or hindi. Then, ibabalik niya yung approved credit memo to sales report, sales debt. Yung approved credit memo should update sales journal. Magre-result sa recording of transaction in sales journal as contra equity, then isi-send sa inventory function. Then, i-adjust the inventory control for the update. Then, accounts receivable should also update. Summarize ulit for journal voucher, then send ulit sa general ledger function. Then, lahat ng journal voucher and summary ng mga accounts is i-reconcile for the posting ng accounts. So, ito yung kanina, yung example ng, ito pala yung example nung credit memo. Tapos, yung kanina, yung sa posting ng general ledger, after ma-reconcile pala lahat ng general ledger, sa general ledger, magkakaroon tayo ng posting sa control accounts, which is inventory control, sales return and allowance debit, cost of goods sold, accounts receivable control credit. Next, cash receipt procedures. Kung kanina, yung sales order procedure shows how credit transaction being processed. Dito sa cash receipt procedures, it involves future event such as receiving and securing the cash, depositing cash in bank, matching and adjusting correct accounts, and yung proper accounting para sa certain transaction, and pagre-reconcile ng information. So, using ulit ng data flow diagram, yung procedure ng cash receipt being processed, kung paano siya nagpa-process. Open mail and prepare remittance advices. Ang nangyayari dito, si mailroom employee opens envelope that contains customer payments and remittance advice. Yung remittance advice is yung information needed to service individual customer, and yung remittance advice is yung letter sent ni customer telling that his or her invoice has been paid and mas convenient siya for processing large volume of cash receipt. Next is record and deposit checks. Yung cash receipt employee, i-verify yung accuracy and completeness nung check, then record sa cash receipt journal, then si clerk magpe-prepare ng deposit slip containing all receipt, then forwarded to the bank. Tas si bank i-validate lahat ng checks, then after validation, ibabalik kay company for reconciliation, then summarize sa journal voucher to general ledger. Then next is update accounts receivable. Any changes in remittance advices accounts balance should summarize, and same process goes to general ledger function. Then after ulit ma-receive yung mga journal vouchers and summary ng accounts na in-adjust dahil may changes, then syempre i-update si general ledger and ipopost and ipa-file yung mga accounts. Then reconcile cash receipt and deposit. So, every week or months, depends sa company. Yung clerk i-reconcile yung mga cash receipt and i-compile yung copy ng pre-list document, deposit slip na na-receive from the bank and related journal vouchers. Ito yung sample ng remittance advice. It contains payment dates, accounts paid, accounts paid, account number, pinaka-importante sa lahat para mabilis na na-identify yung customer. Yung sa kabila is yung sample cash receipt journal, whereas yung mga check receive is in separate line. So, ayun, this is just an overview ng buong report namin. Mas magkakaroon tayo ng in-depth understanding sa mga susunod na reporters. Ayun lang po. Thank you.